Have you guys ever struggled with a bad landlord? Renting is already, can be kind of a pain in the arse, all right? But having a bad landlord just makes it so much worse. Same way if it was like a landlord having a bad tenant, So let me know your stories in the comments, and I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're hydrating. I'm actually a little bit ahead of schedule. Not trying to brag, but I am hydrated properly today. Cheers! Ding! Don't hit your camera toss. Not this time. My landlord announced that he was going to renovate the kitchen, which was just so he could increase the rent. This renovation involved taking the whole kitchen out, doing nothing for 8 weeks, then putting in a new kitchen with less storage space and a faulty oven. The rent did go up. Can they do that? No, come on. No way. When you're living there, they can just say like, hey, I want to renovate the kitchen, so let me inconvenience your life for 8 weeks, and then I'm also gonna raise your rent. No, is that really allowed? That don't seem right. Our last landlord called me to ask if we were home because he needed to get into the backyard, which was only accessible through the house. I told him we weren't, and he said no problem, so we assumed everything was good. We discovered the next day that the landlord had jumped over the garage in the back to get into the backyard to put down rat poison. How did we find out? When our 10-month-old, no, when our 10-month-old puppy found it and ate it the next morning while out for her morning pee. The landlord poisoned our dog. Thankfully, you had me sweating. She survived because my husband happened to be home, but still, and then the next month, he raised the rent. Y'all, if you have proof or something, like you got video camera or any of this, like that's gotta be a lawsuit. He literally tried to poison your dog. There ain't no way. I would not be giving this man another cent of my money. I would literally rather leave. I would rather leave and find a new place. I would not. I would refuse to live in any space he owns. You're not taking a dime, and I will see you in court. I had a landlord who lived above my husband and me, and he and his girlfriend would get into screaming matches. The girlfriend would literally become hoarse from screaming at him. She would stomp her feet, and they would both throw things at each other. We ended up trying to get out of our lease because the fighting was, oh my God, multiple times a week. Break up. Typically late at night and would last for hours. We attempted to contact them and let them know their behavior was inappropriate. One time when we called multiple times in a row to get them to stop fighting late at night, the landlord stomped his feet on the floor above us in response to the call and yelled F you at us. The landlord wouldn't let us out of our lease unless we found a sublease, even though we explained he technically broke the lease by not offering a quiet and peaceful environment. Regardless, we are good people and we tried to be civil since we had to stay at least until we found someone to move in for us, but we were very clear that the next time we heard anything like that again, we would call the police. I used to have neighbors like that right across from me, and I still have neighbors like that. Hopefully they never see my videos, but 10 a.m. the other day, an hour-long fight. Bright and early. I don't even know how you have the energy to fight that early in the morning, but y'all need to break up. And I think they broke up for a while because I won't put all their business on the internet. I spent an entire year in my apartment with no hot water. Nah. A year of cold showers? No. Nope. I want to feel like I am burning in the fiery pits of hell when I'm in the shower, okay? Not a chance. I would reach out to the landlord and she would send the maintenance man, her boyfriend, who would look at the circuit breaker and tell me it was on. Once a month, I would reach out. That's illegal, no? Like that's a necessity, what's the word I'm looking for? Repair. That they would have to, like they have a certain amount of days. And maybe everyone's tenant board's different, but ours is very strict over here. And they have like a certain amount of days as to when you make a repair request complaint. And if it isn't, like big trouble for them. Eventually, mushrooms started growing out of the walls and my kitchen bubbled from the pipes. What? I refused to pay rent until she fixed it. Then stuff started coming up from my shower drain. Professionals got involved. The landlord wanted me to ignore the plumber and buy the products to unclog the drain myself. I refused, and the landlord got sued and all, but blamed me for her costly mistake. See? Yeah. I was like, there's a lawsuit here. Like 100% there's a lawsuit. Yeah, if you're gonna be a landlord, guess what? You have to be a landlord and all the responsibilities that come with it. That's why I would never be one. I don't want that responsibility. I also don't want to rent, but you know what? It's way too expensive out here. This housing market is friggin' crazy. My friend and I caught my landlord looking through the building garage outside, and when he noticed us, he looked startled and started asking questions about the kinds of sparkling water I was buying. It also took him a solid 2 weeks in the dead of winter to fix my frozen furnace, and he did not provide me with any temporary heaters. Once the heater was fixed, he blamed my cats and said they had to go or I needed to pay more into the deposit. The damage had nothing to do with my cats, but I still gave him more money. No! He accidentally showed my friend/neighbor a corn magazine while he was signing the lease and pretended like he shouldn't have seen that. He just sounds a little creepy. I can keep going. He also constantly made comments alluding to my intimacy life and boyfriends. I think I can say sex. I don't know. He was absolutely awful, a true testament to what a tenant will put up with to score below market rent. I lived there for 8 years. Oh my God. I guess I'm like, the rent's gotta be so cheap, like so unbelievably cheap for you to put up with stuff like that. Because it just wouldn't be worth it. It wouldn't be worth like your peace. Your mental health and peace are so important. But you know what? That's not always an option for some people, so that's also very sad. My husband and I were eager to move out of state, picked the first apartment we were approved for, and that's all she wrote. We had rented for years, but had been lucky with good landlords. But this place? Yikes. I only started to read reviews and gain insight once we were moved in, and it was not good. The landlords were suing basically 4 out of 5 tenants upon move out for ridiculous things, but then I learned just how crooked they were. They would purposely tear up carpet, ruin walls, and take pictures, then blame the tenant. I videotaped myself cleaning everything upon move out, locking the door and turning the key. I also took massive number of pictures of everything dated, etc. And when I went to the office, I asked about the final walkthrough and the landlord said I didn't need to be there. Red flag. So I made sure I told her that was okay, but I filmed everything. Yeah, so they're just like literal con artists, like they're scammers. This is what they do to make money. That's great. Love people like that. Also, a little bit your fault for not like looking into where you would be living and renting from, but I'm not trying to pour salt on the wound, although I did just that. My landlady lived above our flat and she would come down to our flat to do her laundry. It was like a subleasing situation and our flats were only separated by a staircase. We didn't know about the laundry before we moved in. My particular horror story is of the time she came into the bathroom to do her laundry while I was peeing, like mid-tinkle. But instead of walking out and apologizing, she simply screamed for, and I am not exaggerating, a good 20 seconds like she was in a horror movie. I just looked at her in shock. After the screaming, she turned around, took her laundry, and left to go back to her flat upstairs. I have never experienced anything like it. I truly don't know what to say. If anything, wouldn't you be screaming in horror? You're the one with your pants down to your ankles, sitting on a toilet, doing your private business. My family moved into a home across the street from the owners. This home was going to be their retirement home. On multiple occasions, they would just show up and just let themselves in with no notice. That's illegal. One day, I was taking a shower and stepped out to see the owner's wife and her friends looking in the bathroom window. Another time, my wife and I were doing the deed on the couch and they walked in. They acted like all of this was normal. No! Oh my God, write reports, people. Contact police, tenant board, do things. This ain't right. Oh, no. Oh, I'm renting, and now I'm doubting every landlord I've ever had, and now I'm doubting my own. When I arrived to move in on the agreed upon date, I discovered that my landlord had not moved out yet. Ew. We awkwardly lived together in a 1-bedroom for 4 days. Not a chance. Excuse me, sir. You were supposed to be out. So illegal if we signed a contract. And number 2, if you're gonna stay here for the next 4 days, great. You can pay for me to be in a hotel. That's insane. Ew. I'm not living with any stranger for 4 days. Are you kidding me? That is literally the start of a serial killer documentary. I was 6 months into a very difficult pregnancy and on bed rest when the water line in the bedroom broke. When the quote to fix it was higher than expected, the landlord drove 1,800 miles to have a look. He had purchased the place from the last landlord at a ridiculous price and hadn't actually seen the property. Oh, he pulled up and talked to the plumber for a few minutes and then got back in his car and left without coming to the door. I tried calling him, but he didn't respond for over a week. Illegal. When he did finally get back to me, he said he'd sold the property and we had less than 3 weeks to vacate. My roommate and I had no way to fight. My fiance had left me when oh my God. My fiance had left me when I got pregnant and I couldn't work or I'd lose the baby. I tried to pack what I could, but I was too sick and ended up in the hospital. He changed the locks and sold everything right down to every pair of my shoes. No, you know what? This is just cruel. This is heartbreaking. There are so many things wrong with this. I can't. And I can't even sit here and tell you what you should have done. Like, what the hell? That already happened. Oh, you know what? I hope your life has gotten better. I hope you're living a very happy and healthy life with your beautiful baby. I hope your day is better than hers. I'm out of here, you guys. Stay classy out there, stay sassy, and I'll see you tomorrow.